Good Sunday evening, and thank you for choosing THV 11 tonight. I'm Brooke Buckner alongside meteorologist Simone Thomas, and we're going to get straight to weather because, Simone, you mentioned earlier we could have a wet start to our work week.
Yeah, a bit of a little unsettled pattern, but the bright side to it is that it'll try to keep those heat index values a little bit lower where we won't need any heat alerts. Now this evening, we are still tracking some rain across some of northern Arkansas. Isolated stray showers in southern Arkansas, but really more of that scattered coverage across the northern half of the state. Over the past 12 hours since 10 o'clock this morning, both northern and southern Arkansas picked up on some pretty decent rainfall. Southern Arkansas seeing the most rainfall today based off those radar estimates, closer to 3/4 of an inch, even a few pockets of an inch of rain down in portions of Drew and Union counties. There was a flash flood warning earlier this evening for some of Drew County due to that heavy rain. Now, as we kick off this first full week of July, we're going to be tracking scattered thunderstorm chances through the middle part of the weekend. As you saw just a second ago, could see some marginal flood risk with that as well. Full details on the week ahead are coming up in that 11-day outlook, so make sure you stick around.
Thanks, Simone. First responders in Texas continue to search for those still missing following deadly 4th of July floods. This comes as the president has announced his plans to visit Texas this week. CBS's Karen Hua has more.
For first responders in Kerr County, Texas, it's been a harrowing weekend of searching and rescuing in the wake of early morning 4th of July floods.
We will continue to search our search efforts until everybody is found.
Officials say the death toll throughout the state has climbed to at least 79. Multiple campers from Camp Mystic, the girls' summer camp in Kerr County, remain among the missing.
I had the opportunity yesterday to visit Camp Mystic and get to see firsthand what happened there, as well as all the way downstream after that. And it was nothing short of horrific to see what those young children went through.
Officials evaded questions from reporters Sunday as to how soon residents were made aware by local agencies of flooding conditions.
We don't want to speculate. At this time, we know there's a lot of speculation and question around it. Again, there's going to be a full review, of this so we can make sure that we focus on future preparedness.
President Trump dismissed on Sunday a question about recent cuts at the National Weather Service.
Are you investigating whether some of the cuts to the federal government left key vacancies at the National Weather Service or in the emergency coordination?
No, they did not. They didn't. I'll tell you, if you look at that what a situation that all is, and that was really the Biden setup. That was not our setup, but I wouldn't blame Biden for it either. I would just say this is a 100-year catastrophe, and it's just so horrible to watch.
The president also said Sunday that he plans to visit Texas this week, likely on Friday. Karen Hua, CBS News, Kerrville, Texas.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott said Sunday flash flooding still poses a danger for parts of Texas, with more rain expected in several areas. And tonight we're hearing from Ricky Ray Robertson, a Kerrville man who survived the flooding. As Mike Jimenez shows us, the moments that transpired when the water started to rise is something forever etched into his mind.
And for the first time, I just broke down. My mom cried in my arms yesterday.
Ricky Ray Robertson says when the Guadalupe River started to rise early Thursday morning, he didn't have time to think, saving his brother who was at home along the river.
I was banging on that door. He couldn't hear me, so I had to kick in the back door.
Robertson says when he first crossed the street, it was dry, but in less than a minute, the waters had risen.
Then when I got him, when we went back across, it was a little bit over my waist.
Robertson stays at a cabin behind the home where his brother lives, which was washed away by the river. But on that night, he was watching the Astros game across the street, deciding not to go home when the rains began to fall.
Houston Astros and Jesus Christ saved my life.
As Robertson scrambled to save what he could, he says he heard screams from the river that he says will haunt him forever.
I think what I heard on this river that night was just more mind-blowingly chilling.
As the waters have receded, Robertson says several bodies have been recovered near his home and have left behind a trail of destruction.
This green shed came from next door. The car came from 9 miles away. The barn and the trailer moved about 30 feet. We lost another trailer and 2 cabins.
Robertson says as he reflects on the power of the river and the aftermath of all the chaos and destruction, he isn't lucky to be alive, he's blessed. And a symbol of that still stands, a cross erected 14 years ago after his stepfather passed, and only 10 inches in the ground, it withstood the raging waters.
This is eternal. And what it means to me is my faith is stronger than that river.
Faith reminding him to stand strong, and by sharing his story, it's allowing him to heal.
I need to cry a little bit. I need to break down. I need to let some of this out. You have to breathe, and you do have to realize that we are human.
Robertson also echoed a sentiment many in the community believe that no one is to blame for this tragedy. He says when you live along the river, things like that happen. Now a look ahead and update on the historic St. Joseph Center in North Little Rock. The building is now set to be demolished following a massive fire back in March. Since then, the staff hope to restore it, but according to Bishop Anthony Taylor, the building can't be salvaged at a reasonable rate compared to the cost to rebuild. In a statement, he says the decision was a hard but necessary one. The building has been standing for the past 116 years. Meanwhile, Thursday, a hearing is set to take place for Brian Hyatt, the former Arkansas doctor who was arrested again for DWI this past week. That charge comes as he also faces felony fraud charges and more than 150 civil lawsuits. His trial is still set for October, but prosecutors are asking the court to update the conditions of his bond to prohibit him from drinking, stating he could be a danger to himself and others. They're requesting a breath test device to be installed on his vehicle. Police said he had an open container of alcohol in his car and refused to take a chemical test before his arrest on Tuesday. Also happening Thursday, 7 top corrections officials, including the state prison director and warden, will testify in front of a legislative subcommittee on Grant Hardin's escape back on May 25th. As lawmakers demand answers, Senator Tyler Dees says the incident raises deeper questions about the state's overall prison infrastructure. At the meeting, they will also review the Arkansas Department of Corrections policies. This week, the White House is set to put pressure on our biggest trading partners to sign new tariff deals. In addition to the planned meeting with Prime Minister Netanyahu at the White House, tomorrow the president will start to roll out tariff notices that will affect dozens of nations. Trump says the administration will be sending letters to countries that have not made a deal with the U.S., and they're mostly focused on nations with the largest trade deficits with the U.S.
18 important trading relationships that account for 95% of our deficit, and those are the ones we're concentrating on.
Our smaller trading partners could become much bigger trading partners, and that's, I think, one of the reasons why countries are racing to set deals up with us ahead of the deadline.
Major trading partners such as Japan, India, and the European Union have initiated talks, but final deals remain in flux. So far, the White House has made significant progress with only a handful of nations, including the UK, China, and Vietnam. And the nationwide measles outbreak has surged to record levels as cases are now at their highest level since the disease was declared eliminated more than 2 decades ago. According to data from Johns Hopkins University, there have been more than 1,200 confirmed cases of measles this year. The vast majority have been in Texas. 3 people have died and all were unvaccinated. The nation could lose its measles elimination status if cases associated with the outbreak continue to accumulate through January of next year.
Lower to middle 90s expected tomorrow with scattered showers and storms in the afternoon. Full details on the week ahead are coming up on your 7-day outlook, or 11-day outlook, right after the break.
And it's the state's first gluten-free brewery. After the break, we take you inside the tap room where nobody's missing the wheat.